Hey, Cleaning Nation, for those on the podcast, YouTube, hello. Those live and Facebook with us, hello. Feel free to say hey in the chat. Let us participate in the conversation. Okay, so a couple of things. One, last week, we're like, we are going to talk about culture next week, and Lindsay always puts it out there. And certain topics get a lot of feedback, and oh my gosh, I need that. Another topic, it's crickets. So culture or core values often is crickets. And I don't know if it's because people don't know what questions to ask, or they don't think it's important. So let me kind of tell you what culture really is, and then maybe we can reframe it and Lindsay can try this next. I think we've got one question, then Lindsay has a backup. But so what culture really is, let me tell you the sexy things. You're like, oh, I'm interested in that. How do I do that? And the answer is core values and culture. How do I have the company run without me? If we had that as a question, y'all would be up in that business. And Lindsay, feel free to do that next. And in the live Facebook group, jump in if you're like, hey, this is the topic I want. But if we said, how do I make the company run without me? The answer is going to be culture and core values. If the question was, how do I decrease turnover in employees? Culture and core values. How do I get my employees to do a better job cleaning? Culture and core values. So I think when we say culture, people are like, I don't know what that is, or I don't think it's important. But when we say, how do you get these things that you do think are important? The answer is culture and core values. So I just wanted to make that clear. That said, I think we've got one question on culture, and then Lindsay had kind of an employee-employer relationship question that we'll hit second, or lots of questions around that topic. Is that correct?
Yeah, you nailed it.
All right, what's the culture question? Let's do that so we keep our promise of having a culture episode, even though we only got one question, guys. And just so you know, our higher level clients that have been with me for a while, when we ask what's the biggest thing, newer people, it's like how to put my marketing funnel or how to get my pricing right or stuff like that. The guys doing seven figures that are really crushing it, they're like, it was the culture and core values. So I promise you, we only talk about it because it's so important. We're not hiding the ball. A lot of you are like, stop tricking me, and this stuff is not important. Give me the marketing stuff. It's like, I promise you, we're telling you the important stuff. So that said, what's the one lonely only culture question we got this week?
Yeah, so Grace had emailed in, and this is in regards to employees. So she says community, but she's talking about the community of her team. So she said, building a community, how do I do that? What do I have to do to make them, her employees, her team, feel like they belong in our community? How do I create a vibe?
I love. All right. If we only had one question, let's at least make it good. That is, you said her name is Grace.
Grace.
Oh, just Grace. Grace,
Mm-hmm.
That is question of that's a solid question. So let's go foundational and then we'll go tactical. Foundational, you can't create a vibe. And I love that, like, you're like, so like, I want to get it. So the vibe, I would replace that with core values. So any of you guys that have been a part of our community, the live stuff, anything, you'd say there's a vibe. Some of you like it, some of you don't, but you go, there's a vibe there, right? And it'd be hard to describe. But if I go, hey, we all on the team believe in having fun and making money, and we're super real and we love helping out, you'd be like, yeah, that's it. That's the vibe. And that's on purpose, because that's who I am inside and outside of this business. So I didn't say, what would everyone want to be? What would be attractive that I could get a good team member like Lindsay, or good employees, or good customers that want to be a part, like excellence and greatness and diversity, or whatever I think everybody wants. Because y'all will know right off the bat that's not who I am, right? But if I'm like, I love having fun, I'm super real, even if people think I'm a nerd. And let's see, this weekend she's sending me old history books she's reading about the war, and I'm like, ooh, I'll buy that book. Like, I think it's literally, I haven't gotten it yet. I think it's at my front door. That's real, right? Like, Lindsay wouldn't have that conversation with her boss because, like, he's gonna know I'm a nerd, and then she already knows I'm a nerd, so we're like, let's just do this thing. So that's who I am already, right? If I tried to make something I thought you guys would like, you'd see through it, because that's not who I am. So I just be like, here's who I am, and then I attract people like Lindsay are like, that's who I am. I've been trying to be that with this other job, and sometimes they're into it and sometimes they're not. So I have to kind of comply and be part of their vibe, which may or may not be my vibe. But when we've already got that vibe, or those values, or those rules that we follow, she's like, I follow those rules even if I'm not a part of your team. I'm like, well, do you want to do what you've been doing, but for this thing that we're all working? She's like, I would very much like that. So that's how you create the vibe from a foundational part. And then tactically, we coach, and we kind of do this here. We do weekly meetings. We coach you guys do weekly meetings, monthly parties, quarterly reviews. And just so you know, internally, we do weekly meetings and we get together 3 times a year with our clients, and we don't review, but that's where we really spend time. And we don't do monthly parties because we're global. But if all of my team was here with me, we would absolutely do monthly in-person parties, for probably more often than monthly, but at least monthly parties. So that's kind of the framework because at the beginning, it's just like, I'm with my employees all the time and they're with me all the time because it's a small team and we're all, there's only so many things to do and we're just doing it together. And you don't really need a structure. But when you start hiring a bunch of people and all that, you need the core values that everybody agrees: have fun, make money, be real, help out. Obviously, you'll have your own. And then weekly meetings, you talk about that. Monthly parties, you get together and spend time and you invite friends and family. So, Lindsay says she's married, still haven't met Mr. Lindsay yet. But we assume, when we meet spouses, I feel like, Suzanne, I've met Sean, spent a lot of time with Sean. He's great. I feel like I know Suzanne better because I know Sean, and the way she acts around towards me when she's with her husband is different. I'm like, oh my gosh, look, she's flirting with him and she loves him. Like, they're so adorable together. I don't get snuggly, adorable, cute Suzanne very often because she's not with her husband. So we just get a whole different picture. So the weekly meeting, monthly party, quarterly review overlay on top of hiring core values match people is going to create a vibe. 100%. It's consistent. It's not going to overwhelm you with time commitments. And I promise your people will love it. Did I miss anything, Lindsay? Being a part of this team, anything you would add as to how the lovely Grace would be able to create her vibe?
Yeah. My only advice that I would add on to this is that just like as in marketing, how we want to keep the same voice and how we present ourselves and our company throughout the whole marketing, from your emails to how you talk to the person, I feel like it should be the same way with your team. So how you communicate with them on Slack, how you email with them, how you show up on Zoom, how you show up in person. I think that's super important. And sometimes in this digital world, especially anything you type out, it can be easy to think you have to be like, to whom it may be concerned. Like, if I sent Mike an email like that, I think he would know I was totally joking.
Right. I would be like, where's Lindsay? Who's this? What have you done with her? We will pay the ransom. What's going on?
Yeah. So I think being consistent, and it's not even acting, it's just being consistent with who you really are, is what creates your quote unquote vibe. And I remember the first time I met you in person, Mike, like in real life off of Zoom. It was so funny to me because we hugged each other. We're like, oh my gosh, you're like a real human being outside of like a square on Zoom. But after we started, getting on with the workday and everything, it was just totally normal to me. And I remember thinking back at the end of that first day, like, yeah, it was just a normal workday, except like I can touch him. He's a real person. So I always thought that was really cool. Just wanted to add that.
I love that. And this has nothing to do with nothing. I just remember, I don't even remember which event it was at. I think you'd flown in differently. We were in the middle of something and you'd walked in for the first time. I think it was you, maybe it was somebody else. And we stopped everyone's training. We're in the middle of something and everyone just had to hug Lindsay. So the whole thing, and it wasn't playing. It wasn't like us, like when Lindsay comes in, everybody, it was just so organic. Could have kept talking, but nobody would listen because everyone loves Lindsay. They wanted to meet her and the team, and I wanted to meet her. So it wasn't like she snuck in. And it's like, that's a vibe. I couldn't put in a manual. Every time someone comes in while training and it's the first time you've seen them, act excited and go give them a hug. It would be insane. It's just and all of us, the team, because everyone, anyway, it is super important. I love what Lindsay said, because you just got to be the real you, right? If I had pretended on Zoom to be this person, I'm not good enough to fake it even on Zoom, but maybe I'm this genius and I could do it. When Lindsay's with us for a 2 or 3 or 4 day event in person, she's going to find out. She's just going to bet this guy's full of crap. And then now she's really screwed, because she's like, I thought I was on this mission with these people doing this thing, and Mike was this, and now I'm that. I don't even know how you recover from that. So just make it easy. Don't make your core values what you think people want. Just be clear on who you are, and you'll attract nerds like Lindsay that are nerds like you, and they'll dig your vibe. All right. Anything else we need on the core value piece before we hit the kind of the bonus topic?
No, I think we hit it pretty good. I think the main thing is just be yourself, and you're going to your vibe attracts your tribe, right? That cheesy old saying. It's so true.
I've never heard that. I like that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You should have taken credit. I would have thought you made it up on the spot.
then I wouldn't be being real. And that's a core value. So there you go.
So funny. Our core values be real. And Lynn's like, to sum up, it just be real. I'm like, well, of course you would say that. That's who you are. Mike Campion here. Do you ever listen to the podcast and go, this is great information. I just wish I could actually get it implemented. And I wish I could get some help. Well, we do that. If you would like either myself or my team's help actually coming up with a plan that's specialized to you and your business, because with these podcasts, obviously we have to be very general and we can only go 20 minutes at a time. If you'd like to jump on a call with myself or my team, go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. We'll jump on a call. There's no charge. And we'll help you get some absolute clarity around exactly what to do next and how to do it. The reason we don't charge for these calls is the plan that we come up with, people want help implementing that. If that's the case, we're happy to talk about it. And if it's not, that's okay too. We're happy to just help you come up with a plan. So if you want to translate the information you're learning here into an actual plan that can change your life, give us a ring, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. Love to either myself or have one of our coaches walk you through and actually personalize the content you get here to where you're at with your business. Talk soon.
So Mike, this is kind of a different segment than what we usually do, but this post by Melina, I hope I'm saying your name right, in the Facebook group got so much attention and so many comments and different views. I'm like, I gotta bring this up with Mike because this is kind of cool. So it wasn't a question that she posted. I'm going to read her post. So she said, if you don't want employee turnover, call-ins, or complaints, pay your teams really well. After all, who are the ones working their tails off? You or them. Don't be stingy with your money. Pay your cleaning teams what they are worth. She said, I have been in business for 4 years. I have 13 teams, still have the original teams. My teams are happy. My clients are happy. My pocketbook is happy. Win-win. And I was like, oh, good for her. Go Melina. Like she found something that works. And then I started reading all the 22 comments and I was like, whoa.
Different people have different thoughts on this.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Melina, and it's always fun when we go on the Facebook group, hundreds of posts, and every now and again, one will just like catch fire and people have thoughts. So thank you guys for sharing that and letting us know what you want to hear about. So I love what Melina said, and I'm going to put my perspective on it, which is just a little bit more of a nuanced picture. So far be it for me to say, don't pay your people, screw them, pay cheap. Like, well, that's not right. I think we're just, I don't say confusing because that sounds a little judgmental. The way that I hear the post would be the way she's seeing the cause is pay your people well. I see that as an effect. So the cause is core values, right? So for us, I like to think we pay. My goal, and Lindsay can live on air be like, that's not how I'm experiencing it, dude. My goal is to pay people better than average. Like if they tried to get a similar job in 20 other places, we would pay better than 12 of them, maybe 15, but not the top, right? If they went to 20 other places, there would be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, where if all they cared about was money, they would get more money. Like I have no doubt if any of my team left and said, I've decided money's for me, I really need it right now, and I'm going here because I can get more. I'm like, I'm not surprised. I'm sure you can. Like you guys are all amazingly talented. So that comes from the have fun, make money, be real, and help out vibe. So I have found in cleaners, and the way we coach is 10% above average plus the ability to make 15% based on performance. And in the training, we go over exactly what that performance looks like. But we found the difference between a $15 an hour employee and a $19 an hour employee is virtually zero, right? So now if you go from $15 an hour to 70 grand a year, you are going to get a different caliber of person, no question. But $15 an hour to $18 an hour, you are not going to get a better caliber of person. 100% not. I mean, there's always luck. You can get a bad 14 or a good 14, but you're just not going to be like generally. That's the biggest frustration people get. It's like, I raise my prices by $1, by $2, by $3. Sometimes it has a negative effect. I actually got people that were just there for the money and they were worse than the other people. So it's still, and I hate to hit I know Lindsay's like, I've got a different thing. I'm like, no, you don't, girl. We are talking core values. The right people. And again, the reason I can out loud in front of Lindsay go, she could probably make more money tomorrow if that was her goal and not be worried that she's like, wait, what? I'm out. And I'd give her a recommendation. Yeah, she literally leaves the middle of the podcast like, well, this is awkward. I'm not going to lie. Is because the 10, 20% or whatever she can make more. She's like, yeah, but what's the experience of the job? Am I going to care about what I'm doing and the people I'm working with and the people I'm working for? And do I give a, like, is this important to me? And if she's like, I don't care, I just want the money. Well, she's probably not a fit for, and one of our core values is make money, but it's have fun, be real, and help out. Right. So if she could live in a job where she's like, I'll love it just as much and give just as much or more of an impact and I'll make more money, I'd be the first to be like, Lindsay, you got to go, girl. Like I want, and I don't want her to leave. I love Lindsay, but because I'm real, I want to help out. I want to see her win. But it really is the culture of first, second, and third. And now if I told Lindsay, we want to help out, we want you to make money, the company to make money, our employees to make money, our clients to make money. And I try to scam her on pay and pay her under, she's not going, that's not very fun for me. And you're not being real because you said you want to help out and you care about me making money, not just you. And here you are trying to screw me on pay. So it's really just the core gosh darn values is how the pay needs to come out of. So to be short, my guess with Melina, God bless you for like, oh, I pay people well and that's why they stay. I'm like, Melina, you can pay all you want. If it's a bad, I could, if I was a complete raging a-hole and Lindsay just, I know she's got strong beliefs, so we were hurting people or not helping, I could double her pay and she's out of here, right? So Melina, I want to give you an encouragement. Obviously you have to pay fairly, and I'm guessing you're paying a little above fairly, but not way above. The people, I'm guessing if people have been there since they started, it ain't because of the pay. It is because you have created an environment, a culture, a vibe, and that's why they're staying. And we have very little turnover on our key. Lindsay, if you listen to the podcast, she's been on for a long time. She was probably editing the podcast that you didn't hear before you met her. So I just want to encourage Melina and everyone out there. Yes, you have to pay fair, right? Like culture is not going to overcome trying to screw people, but that would be disloyal to the vibe. So I think the result of the cause is she has good culture, and that's why people want to stay. And the result of her good culture and her core values is she treats her people with respect and honestly wants to make sure they're getting paid fairly. Lindsay, I've put a bunch of words into your mouth. You've got your own voice. I would love to hear your response to what I said in terms of you being here, and then to Melina any way you see fit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised. I shouldn't be surprised because I know you and your coaching pretty well now, but I didn't see that coming. I was like, yeah, I don't think this is really core values or like culture related. And in the ends, you just like tied it in a nice, neat bow on top of it. Totally is.
And disclaimer, that wasn't because I was trying to like shoehorn it into core values.
Yeah.
That would have been the exact same answer. If you were on pay, I would have said, this isn't a pay question, it's a core values question. So that's my true answer, not just trying to like fit Lindsay's narrative of core values. Sorry, I didn't interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of comments on her original post. Because I was like, oh yeah, on the surface level, I was like, oh, it makes sense. Yeah, you pay people well. There's probably something, I thought to myself, there's probably something else going on there. She's probably a great business owner. People probably love working with her and for her.
1,000%.
Yeah. And in the comments, it's just so funny, not like haha funny, but just interesting to see different reactions. Cause some people, Amber in the comments said, I pay so much and I still can't seem to find people worthwhile or the dollar. She's like, what is your secret? You must live somewhere special. And I think you just answered what her secret is, Mike.
Let me give you guys an encouragement with younger, dumber Mike. When I was young, not for cleaners, but for administrative positions, I was young. We had a little company, wasn't even doing $1 million, like a little off. Like we didn't have like Google, you see like they've got a chef on board. Like we didn't have none of that at all. And I felt I was so just dumb. And I think I was looking at it the way I would look at it. And because I never really worked it, I had a couple of jobs. My last job I was 22. I quit and started a business. I didn't really have a lot of corporate, I didn't have a job. I didn't have experience as an employee. I didn't know what it would look or feel like. I just was like, I would always go to because my only real job was waiting tables and selling cars. And none of those were jobs I particularly enjoyed. So it was literally just the most money. Although, I'm not going to lie, cheat or steal. So it's a dirty car dealership. You have to be a dirtbag. I won't go there for any money. But assuming just they're all equally non-liar, cheater, stealer, I'm just going to the one I think I can make the most money. And that's how I made decisions as a dumb 21-year-old kid trying to get a job. So when I went to be an employee, or employer, I'm like, well, it's just the money. And I also was like, I'll do whatever you guys tell me, legal, ethical, moral, of course, because you're paying me. So I got to do a good goddamn job. Like if you tell me I need this money, this is an opportunity. So when I hired, I assumed everyone I hired would be that way. So they would just go for wherever the most of the money was. And because I paid them, they would do what I asked them to do. Both were just so full of crap. It couldn't have been more wrong. So I just wish I could have gone and told Mike, like, you're young and you're fun. And I was trying to act professional because I was so young. I'm like, I can't be real. People will know like I'm a knucklehead and I'm full of crap and I'm just goofing around here. So I tried to be all professional. I'm sure these like kind people that worked for me probably knew like this. I don't know why they were there. But the grace I got from my team, even now that I'm old, you guys still give me some grace I don't deserve. But I really thought I can't afford to pay enough to get the good people because, like, the big companies that offer benefits and fancy stuff, I can't pay like they pay and I can't give the benefits that they give. So how will I really didn't understand how I would get anyone. And I thought I would just have to pay more because I was little, and it couldn't have been further from the truth. So I met a lot of people that start cleaning companies that work making 200-300 grand a year. They just hate their job and they're in a corporate fancy thing with lots of benefits and lots of whatever. And they're like, it's goddamn miserable. I hate it. I'm a slave. I don't want that. I don't want that life. And maybe they start a cleaning company. They'll make a couple $100 grand. I mean, they make a little less. At first they make way less. Right. And it's just like, yeah, but this is what I want. So I want to encourage you guys with the cleaners. Like, I can't afford enough for good talent. Like, you just got to pay fair. And there's lots of amazing people in the world that everyone doesn't want to work at Google or wherever the fancy place is that you think you can't compete with. And other places may be quote unquote better to work for than me, but no one's me, right? If they like this vibe and this energy and this have fun, make money, be real, and help out, Google can't compete with that, right? And there's a lot of ways I can't compete with Google, granted, but there's a lot of ways they couldn't compete with me. So just give yourself credit that you can create something unique and special that's you. And it's not about money, and benefits are a piece of it, but much smaller than the experience that people have at the job.
Oof. That was good, Mike. You got an oof for me. Although, Mike, I will say, I think Google at one point was like giving their workers massage therapists. So, if you want to like
make that happen
and be a little more like Google.
Once everybody moves to our area, if we get an office, I will have a massage therapist in there periodically. I can't get got to find one in the Philippines, got to find one in New Jersey. Like, the problem is, Lindsay, you know what I'm going to do? That's a great idea. Lindsay, get him aside. And you're like, God dang it. Now I'm the chump that has to set all this up.
It's so true. It's so true, Cleaning Nation. all right, Mike.
Anything you want to add and leave?
No, I think that's it. I think we really, our little experiment here today worked, and we got to answer Grace's question too. I think we're good.
Cool. Cleaning Nation, if you want to say in what we talk about or you need some help, just email Lindsay at growmycleaningcompany.com. Let her know your thoughts, what you'd like to hear us talk about. If you've got a question, we got you. Lindsay will do it. Email her, jump in Facebook group. We'll see you there.
See you guys.
Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. And we sure appreciate your time and attention.